Hi, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a tag video and it's long overdue. So as you can tell by the title, this is the Do Our Tastes Align tag, which I was tagged in by my friend Faye from Books and Chocoholic literally 5 months ago. I was tagged in this video shortly before a family loss and I just never got to it. So here I am. 5 months late, but better late than never. I will tag Faye down below as well as the original creators, who I believe are Thoughts on Tones and My Name is Marinez. So I will tag all three of them down below. Make sure that you check them out. Faye, I'm sorry. I have literally been rescheduling this video in my content for weeks. And then I had a big snowstorm. And then also I got pneumonia. I'm so sorry. Question number 1 is, how do you rate books? Now I'm going to just say this very quickly because I literally, before this video, is an entire discussion about rating systems and how I rate books. So I'll link that in the card and down below so you can check it out. 5 stars are books I love that I feel really connected to. I would consider them favorites. 4 stars are books that I love a lot. They're just not at that favorite level yet. Maybe there was like 1 or 2 small things I had in the book where like I just didn't enjoy like 1 or 2 small things, or maybe 1 or 2 things happened that I was like, we didn't need that. But still, overall, a book I really loved. 3 stars is a book that I think is solid. I think it's a good book. I wouldn't consider it a favorite. I probably wouldn't reread it. And, I would still recommend a 3-star book to people depending on their tastes. A 2-star book is a book that I think is pretty bad, but maybe it has like 1 or 2 redeeming qualities about it. I definitely wouldn't recommend this book to other people. A 1-star book is a book that is so fucking bad that I'm literally like dragging my feet to read it, smacking my head against the wall, or it's so bad that I had to DNF it. And I know a lot of people don't rate their DNFs. Again, if you want to see my reasoning and my full thoughts behind all of these decisions, check out that video because I go into great detail about my ratings, especially the 1-star and 5-star ones. So I'm going to save my breath on that one. I am still mildly recovering from pneumonia and the breath ebbs and flows. Question number 2 is, how do you approach reviewing books? What's your review style? Are you analytical, emotional, casual, or structured? I would say I'm really a mixture of the 3. There are definitely some times where I review a book and I feel like very analytical and structured. Especially if I hate a book, I will say like I'm more apt to find like quotes or things in a book, examples in a book that back me up when I'm reviewing a book I didn't like, because I want to make sure that my facts are solid behind my reasoning. But when I'm reviewing a book I love, I am very much emotional, even though I do still bring like a little bit of an analytical nature to those reviews. Like they are led mostly with emotions. So I don't know how to pick one. I guess I would just say I'm a mixture of all 3 for those. Question number 3 is, what's the book that made you a reader? Whether it was your first favorite book or the one that got you hooked. What book started it all? It's the book that we don't like to talk about on this channel because the author is a TERF, and that sucks. And seeing the child, in that book, and especially book 1, living under the stairs and being neglected and being emotionally traumatized and abused by grown-ups really made me feel seen as a kid and really got me through some dark times and kept me alive on this earth, if you know what I mean. So the fact that the author has completely ruined any nostalgia I've had for those books really fucking sucks. So fuck that bitch. Question number 4, do you have a genre niche? Are there certain genres you gravitate towards, or do you read widely across genres? I read fantasy a lot. I love magic and magical creatures and whimsy, but I do actually think that I read kind of diversely across genres. Fantasy is the majority. We know that. If you're new here, hi, how are you? I'm a fantasy obsessed nerd. I do like to read magical realism, which a lot of people would say is still fantasy, but I would consider it lit fic. I have read a couple of romances. I have read a couple dozen thrillers. I've recently started reading horror. I've always read like here and there horror, but last year in particular, I read a lot of horror. And this year I've read 2 horror, I want to say. Is it 2 or 1? I don't know. Anyways, so I dabble in other genres, and I have read nonfiction, not very often, I will point out, but I have read it. And I've also read some books in verse. Like I wouldn't say I read poetry, but I love the poetic nature of a story in verse. So yeah, I do think I read a little bit diversely, but my genre niche is 1000% fantasy or high fantasy. I don't know. I guess fantasy. We'll just say fantasy, huh? Question 5 is, do you prefer character-driven or plot-driven? I prefer character-driven, but I really love when the plot backs that up. I know I'm not answering these questions black or white. I'm very much in the gray area, but I do prefer a character-driven plot. I think that I could read a plot that wasn't that exciting if the characters really brought like camaraderie and interpersonal relationships and like banter to the table. That could carry me through a bad plot. So I will say character-driven, but I really want the plot to also back that up, you know? Question 6. What's a book you love so much that you don't care if others like it? What's one book you love enough for everyone? May I present to you Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is a book I constantly am going back to when people ask me what my favorite book of all time was. I have these editions. I have this beautiful Lit Joy Crate edition. I have the paperbacks. This one heavily annotated. And have recently completed my collection with an arc of Strange the Dreamer. And I have an arc of Muse Nightmares that my friend had randomly. And she knew how obsessed I am with this story. So she gave me this arc like 2 or 3 years ago. Literally the best gift anyone's ever given me. And this one, I did pay for it. I'm so sorry. Lord, forgive me for I have sinned. I bought an arc. I know you're not supposed to sell them. I'm not the one who sold it. But I did take the opportunity to buy it because it is my unicorn. I've been looking for one of these, and every secondhand shop I've ever went in for like the last 5 years of my life. So I love this duology enough for everybody. I don't give a fuck if you don't like it. You're wrong, but you're allowed to be wrong. I love this series so much. Okay, question number 7 is similar, but it says, what's a book you love so much that if someone doesn't like it, you know your reading tastes don't align? The book or books where a difference of opinion is a strong indicator of different reading preferences. So with Strange the Dreamer, like I admit that I know that book's not for everyone, and I will love it enough for the both of us. Don't get it twisted. I would say one book that I love where if someone tells me they don't like this book in particular, then it's probably someone I'm not going to like jump at the chance to get recommendations from. And that is The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. This book is like so close to being equal with Strange the Dreamer. This like series as a whole, I guess I would say, is so close to being equal with Strange the Dreamer. But there's just something about this book. I forgot, you guys. I forgot that I got these. I forgot that I got the signed ones, and I just got jump scared. I was like, who wrote in my book? Oh my God, I forgot. I fucking forgot. I fucking forgot that I got them signed. Okay. Whew. I had a heart attack for a second. I thought my son wrote in my book. Okay, crisis averted. But if you don't like this, like that's fine. But I know that like your taste in fantasy and my taste in fantasy like are not going to be equal. And that's fine. Like I respect you for that. But I probably won't want to like have you recommend me a fantasy book unless like every other book we've read is like in line with each other. Then you hating this one, like if you give it a 1 stars and you like vehemently hate it, I'm probably not going to trust your recommendations. If you like didn't love it, like you gave it a 4 or a 3 or a 2 even, like I would still probably maybe trust your recommendations, especially like a 4 obviously. But if you give it like a 2, I would like consider like, I didn't really love this book, but here's a book that I thought was similar, but like better. Like I would maybe read that if you recommended it to me. But if you rated this a 1 star and you like talk shit about it all the time, like don't talk to me. Don't come at me. I don't care about your opinion. If you like hate it that much, if you hate it so viscerally that you're like talking shit about people who love it, I don't want to get Rex from you. Sorry. Question 8 says, what's in your trash pocket? What books, tropes, or themes that you know are bad but you love them anyways? I don't actually think that I have an answer for this. Tropes or themes or a trash book. Last year I read Dungeon Crawler Carl, and it was my favorite book of the year, and I love this book so much. It is definitely one of my favorite books. And I guess people consider it dude bro. Like, even though I know a lot of non-cis males, like women or non-binary people who also like this book. But apparently like this is considered dude bro. So I guess dude bro is like my trashy, like reality TV book guilty pleasure. I don't know. I loved it. This is my trash book, I guess. Number 9 is, do you have any deal breakers in books? Something that, if present, immediately turns you off from a book. Surprise pregnancy trope, which is actually so funny because I lived surprise pregnancy trope in real life. I am a hypocrite. I'm so sorry. I fucking hate it in books. And I hate it in books because it was one of the scariest like times of my life. Didn't fucking love that. I also hate like, I hate when a woman is like so powerful and so strong and independent, and then she like gets a man and immediately just loses all fucking agency and just becomes a fucking cardboard schlop. You know, like ew, bleh. Gag me. That's disgusting. Sorry, I got really upset about that question. Question number 10 says, what's a strong opinion you have about a book released within the last year, whether it's overrated, underrated, or just a take you need to share? So 2025 was like literally one of the worst years of my life. I had a lot going on. I moved halfway across the country. My dad died. My house exploded, and I'm not exaggerating. It literally shit exploded everywhere. Me and my son have both been sick a lot. It's been a lot. So I don't think I've read anything new enough to answer this question. I'm trying to like rack my brain. Maybe I should check Storygraph real quick. I don't think that I've read anything like released within the last year that I can confidently answer this question with. Oh, okay, wait. I did actually just recently read When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy, and it says it was released in 2025. So I'm going to say, I think this book is amazing. I read it and like, I just flew through it. It was so engaging. It was very nostalgic in a way. Like, it gave me 80s, like werewolf, like movie vibes, like really corny, like CGI, like where you can just, I can see like, you know, that was bad. Or like, I saw you switch the stunt double. Like, what budget did you have? You know, like it kind of had those vibes, but it also kind of had like a really fresh feeling about it at the same time. And I don't know, Nat Cassidy is really popular, okay? But I feel like a lot of people love him for Mary or Nestlings. And I feel like not enough people are talking about When the Wolf Comes Home. Hello? It was fantastic. I gave it 5 stars. It's one of the best books I've read so far this year. The year is early. It's only February 17th. But regardless, it was so good. And it really helped pull me out of a slump. Also, I buddy read a book with someone to help get me out of a slump, and I will say that helped a lot, getting to buddy read and like experience that together. But then When the Wolf Comes Home, I read with my book club, The Reading Realm, which the Discord for that is linked down below in every video. If you want to join us, please check it out. We will be reading One Dark Window in the second quarter of this year. So if you're interested in that book, feel free to join. But yeah, I read this book with my book club, and so many of us were like, oh my God, this is amazing, 5 stars. Like, was it perfect? Actually, no, I don't think it was perfect. But I think that the journey you take while reading it was 5-star worthy. Like, it was so fun, kind of a little gross. It also really had like a lot of nuance. There was a lot of talk about like dead dads, which was unfortunately relative to my life. Dead dads. There was talk about like what makes a monster a monster. There was a lot of like nature versus nurture stuff going on in there. Like, I just thought it was really great. Banger of a time. Not enough people are talking about it. So pick it the fuck up. Question 11 says, what do you look for in writing? What makes a book stand out to you? Is it the prose, themes, voice structure, or something else? Honestly, I think for this question, the answer is all of the above. I need a book to be well-rounded. A book could have beautiful prose, but have absolutely nothing going on plot-wise. The characters could be ass. There could be no nuance, no themes. Like, it's literally just a flowery fucking pile of shit. And I hate it. But I love flowery writing. So I really need a book with substance. Like, I need the plot to mean something, whether that's to the characters or to me. I need the characters to feel well fleshed out and well-rounded. I love prose that is flowery, but not too flowery. I actually think a great example of this is my friend Jade, who wrote The Solstice Court by Jade Juniper. She has a writing style that is like, it can be flowery and like, what's the word I'm looking for? like metaphorical, but the metaphors that she uses are always so like nail on the head. Like, wow, I know exactly what you mean by that phrase, and what a beautiful phrase it was. So that's a great example of the kind of writing I'm talking about, where I really just love when something is a little bit flowery, but still fits the tone of the book, makes sense in the tone of the book, can have like normal, like logical moments. Not the entire thing isn't flowery, but you know that it could always surprise you with a beautiful quote. And yeah, I just think the writing needs to be well-rounded. I think that I could read writing styles that are so vastly different from each other and love all of them. If the writing is good, first of all, it needs to be good. If the writing is good, well-rounded, characters are well-rounded, characters in the plot make sense together, characters make sense within the world. I think like writing style itself isn't really that important to me, as long as everything meshes, as long as the amalgamation of all of those things makes sense within the scope of the book and within itself. Like, then, like I said, I could read one book that's super flowery and one book that's not super flowery and love them both. It literally doesn't matter. They just need to be good. And I know that's like, I'm like skirting the question. I'm so sorry, but that's just the truth of it, isn't it? Question number says, okay, Rachel, get it together. Question number 12 says, how do you decide what to read next? Do you plan ahead, mood read, or follow external factors? Hype, recommendations, or arcs? I feel like I want so badly to be a planner. Like, I want to plan my reading ahead of time. I love to make TBR lists. I haven't made one on here in a while because I can't follow them. I think I'm secretly a mood reader, but I want so badly to be like a plan ahead reader. So I don't know. I'm really struggling. I'm having an identity crisis with the type of reader I am. Am I a mood reader? Or am I a plan ahead reader? There are definitely times I'm planning ahead. Like, I have a book club, so I know that I'm going to be reading One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig soon in the second quarter of this year. And I'm excited for it because I know I'm reading it with my book club. I am hyped for it. It's been hyped online. It's got a lot of like momentum, Rachel Gillig kind of came into the scene and blew people's socks off. So like that excites me and I want to get to it. But there's definitely times where it's like, I know a readathon's coming up, like Draconathon. Draconathon should be coming. I don't know if there's going to be a spring one in March like there has been before, but Draconathon should be coming in August. And I have this dragon book here, The Night Ends with Fire by KX Song, and I would love to read it, but I'm saving it for Draconathon. So like I do kind of plan ahead, but I'm also kind of a mood reader because I just kind of pick whatever I feel like it, I guess, in the moment. But I also really like to do buddy reads. And then so obviously like you want to discuss ahead of time, like what are we in the mood for? What book should we read together? What book do we think will be fun to read together? There's a lot going on. There's a lot of factors playing behind the scenes in my brain when I'm choosing something to read next. I think the moral of the story is that I really want to be a plan ahead reader, but I can't stick to my TBR for shit. And I usually end up being a mood reader. Question 13 says, where do you get inspiration for your BookTube content? What sparks your video ideas? Other creators, trends, personal reading experiences, etc. So I'm a certified yapper. I have this sweatshirt on right now that says, I will not be remembered as a woman who kept her mouth shut. And I got it because I always am like talking shit, right? In the sense that like if someone online is like being misogynistic, like I'm going to call you out. Like, shut the fuck up. I'll call you out. But I put this on and I showed my husband. I was like, look at my shirt I got. And I was thinking like he would get it. Like, oh yeah, because I'm always very opinionated. And he goes, yeah, you literally just don't stop talking. And so I think the inspiration behind my BookTube content is that I just talk a lot. And so I'll like think thoughts that I want to tell people. Like, my husband isn't a reader. So a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about on my channel are not things that I can just like spew at him. So I'll like, most of the time it's like me wanting to tell my husband something, but he's not a reader and he won't get it. So I'm like, oh, I could make a video about that. I also just really like to do vlogs. So I do, I haven't vlogged in like a super long time because like I said, last year was like the fucking worst year ever. But I really like to do vlogs. I love to watch vlogs. So I guess I would say that other creators inspire me that way. There are definitely times where like a creator will make a video that's like very niche and I'll be like, oh my God, that's so cool. But like, what if this happened instead? And then it will kind of spark an idea that I'll like ruminate on and then maybe it evolves over time. So yeah, I do get inspiration from other creators. I get inspiration from my own unfiltered, unmedicated ADHD of things that I want to tell my husband, but he's not going to listen to me because he doesn't like to read books. And I don't know, just like maybe like conversations with friends. I'm in a couple of Discords, mine as well, that have like content creator channels where you can kind of bounce ideas off of each other, or maybe like help other people refine their ideas, or they help you refine your ideas, which I just think is such a nice aspect of this community. I love being like creative with other people. I really love helping other people like fine tune their ideas. Like my friend Mare a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I think, was trying to film or edit a vlog, and she was like, oh my god, this vlog is like so long and I think people are gonna think it's boring. And I was like, well, what if you just like make a nice hot cup of coffee at the beginning and sit down and make it more casual, where you're like, hey, what's up, this is my update, and it's kind of just like you hanging out with your friends. And I feel like that will be really comforting to people. And she did it. She was like, oh, I actually really love your idea. And so she did her video like in that style. And I don't know, I just think like being creative and helping other people in that way is just fun and helps me feel creative in my own endeavors as well. Question 14 says, if you could make any book go viral right now, what would it be? A book you think deserves more attention and why? I don't know. Okay, I do know actually. I want to say The Lost Story by Meg Schaefer. This book is a story that I feel so seen by. Like, I have read it thrice. I've narrated it. Narrated? No, bitch. I've annotated it. There is just something about this whimsical, silly little portal fantasy book. It's a standalone, I think. I don't know. The ending was open-ended. But there's something about this book that really made me feel seen. I would check trigger warnings. It's not overly triggering, but there are a couple of nuanced themes in here that could be triggering for people. So for those of you who don't know, this story follows a girl who is adopted, and her adopted mother died of cancer previous to the first chapter. Like, we're learning this from her POV. And she's seeking out a man named Jeremy because he is really famous for finding lost girls, like girls who go missing in the woods or girls who get kidnapped, etc. Like, he's just really good at finding them for whatever reason. Because after her birth mother died, I think she took a DNA test and found out she had a sister. And then she found out that her sister was missing and had been missing for like a decade. So she goes to Jeremy and asks him to help her. And he's like, oh, I don't know, because your sister went missing in this place where I went missing when I was a teenage boy. And he had gone missing with his friend Rafe when they were both, I think, like 15 or 16. And they went missing for months. And then they came back and they couldn't remember what had happened to them. And they went their separate ways, unfortunately. But Jeremy has to rekindle his friendship with Rafe in order for the two of them to help Emily find her sister. And I know that sounds convoluted, and like it is a little, but it's not really. Once you read it, you'll understand. But these two boys go back to this forest where they went missing, which dredges up a lot of feelings for them, but they are really determined to help Emily find her sister. And there's like, there's a lot of mystery that unfolds. I don't want to spoil any of it. It's queer. There's a smidge of romance. It's not at all the main focus, and it is so very minimal, but it's just also really like a tender thing. It's very tender and sweet, and it just really hones in on that feeling that like there is a place for everyone. This book is inspired by the Chronicles of Narnia, and it's not at all. The only similarity I would say is that there's like a magical world through a door, right? That's the only thing I think is similar. The themes are different. The nuance is different. The characters are very, very different. And the journey that you take to get to the end is also very, very different. And it's so good. I think it's so underrated. I just think it's really cute. And I don't know, I loved it so much. I'm trying to see, like, is there a quote I can read you that's like not spoilery? There's also this narrator who interjects themselves and breaks the fourth wall, but it's in a way where like you feel like someone is telling you a story. So I'll try to find like the first one if I can. Literally the first chapter after the prologue is called Storyteller Corner, and that's our narrator is called the storyteller. And so it says, hello, this is your storyteller. You may already be wondering why I'm intruding on the story like this, which is a fair question. But this is a fairy tale, and fairy tales play by their own rules. I wanted you to be aware of these rules so we could all, pun intended, be on the same page. First, what is a fairy tale? A wise and kind teacher I once knew worked up her own recipe, and it went something like this. And then they proceed to list all these rules that need to happen in a fairy tale. And then at the end of the chapter, it says, of course, fairy tales are fiction always. Well, except for this one. So it's like, it's kind of got a Princess Bride element in that way, where it's someone is telling you a story and then you're seeing the story happen as if you were there. Like I believe it's first person POV, or is it third person? No, yeah, it's third person. So it's like you're witnessing it from an outside perspective, but you're there. Yeah, so it's kind of like a Princess Bride vibe. It's a Chronicles of Narnia vibe, but it is also a little modern, and it's also its entirely own thing. And I'm explaining this really poorly, I think, but if I had magic powers, boop, I would make this go viral right now, because I think that it was just a beautiful book, honestly. And I felt really seen by it. And I think it has a lot of subtle nuance for a fairy tale. And yeah, West, by God, Virginia. Also, this is a book I read as an ARC and loved so much that I got it signed. And her husband drew her map for her, and he also signed the map. And it's just really cute. I loved it. Question 15 says, what are some booktubers whose tastes are similar to yours? I will say Faye, who tagged me in this video. I think we have similar tastes in some aspects, but I do also think that we have a lot of different tastes. And I will also say Mara from Lady Mara Reads. I will also say The Lit Wizard. I think our tastes align in certain areas, as well as Charlie from Charlie Read a Book. Our tastes align in some areas as well. I'm trying to think of more people. Who else do I watch that reads similarly to me? Yeah. So I watch a lot of people who don't read similarly to me. I guess maybe like, I don't know who else reads similar to me. I'm having a crisis. I'm like forgetting every booktuber I've ever watched in my entire life. I'm sorry. It's like 10 o'clock at night. I'll just tag the people I mentioned for you to go check them out. If you want someone who's similar, that maybe doesn't read exactly the same as me, but can read similarly. Of course, this video ended up being really long for me to film. I don't know if it'll be as long for you to watch, but if it is, thank you, as usual, for making it this far in the video. If you've made it this far in the video, leave a door emoji down in the comments for the lost story, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!